Okay, so in the last Dhamma talk, we were discussing how a yogi, after they have established this Kanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, how this quality of sampajanya, clear comprehension, arise in order to discern the nature of, firstly, nature sabhava lakkhana, and then followed by nature of sankhata lakkhana. So sabhava lakkhana means the unique characteristic. Okay, so yeah, so it's or you can say natural characteristic. So reason why we say it is unique characteristic is because it is the nature that is unique to each of this mental physical Dhamma. Okay, so yeah, literally actually sabhava lakkhana means a natural characteristic. Okay, when we say unique characteristic, it's not a literal translation. Okay? So, so what do you mean unique? So this one we have explained because this nature of sabhava lakkhana that is discerned when you note the object. Is a nature that is unique to a particular phenomenon. Okay? For example, the quality of hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness. So this is a unique characteristic of the earth element. Okay? So no other Dhamma share in this nature. Hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness. Heat and cold. This unique nature that is unique only to the fire element. So, but this is the nature. Is unique to the fire element, and it is the sabhava, the nature of the fire element. Okay, so and then the wind element, the nature of support. Support, so you experience it as support, like pressure, or tightness, stiffness. So, and then the water element, nature of cohesion, fluidity. So, and then other material nature as well. For example, sensitivity. Sensitivity to object. So there's eye sensitivity. There's material nature that's sensitive to visible form or colors. There's ear sensitivity, which has a nature sensitivity to sound. And nose sensitivity, sensitivity to smell, and so on. So sensitivity also is a material nature. So nature of impinging of the object. So visible form, its nature is to impinge on the eye sensitivity. No other materiality has this nature. Sound cannot impinge on the ears, on the eye sensitivity. Smell also cannot impinge on the eye sensitivity. Only visible form impinges on the ear sensitivity. So that is the nature of visible form. It has that nature of impinging on the eye sensitivity. Sound also has a nature of impinging, but on the ear sensitivity. Smell has the nature of impinging on the nose sensitivity. This is the nature of impinging. So, yeah. So each of these, the unique characteristic, unique nature of this, their respective material Dhamma, Rupa Dhamma. So this is called unique characteristic, sabhava lakkhana. not only of the physical materiality, also the nama dhamma, the mental phenomena, also each have their own unique nature. So nature of knowing, this is the nature of the chitta, consciousness, or vijnana. So and this nature is unique only to this chitta, quality of knowing, quality of feeling or experiencing unpleasantness, experiencing pleasantness, or neither pleasantness nor unpleasantness. This is the nature of Vedana. So nature of contacting the object, touching the object. That is the nature of phassa, or mental contact. Nature of recognizing object. When you experience object, there is the nature of mind that recognizes the object, and that is the nature of sanya, perception. Nature of establishing on the object, immersing into the object, and that's the nature of sati, mindfulness. You can experience this also in your practice. Nature of applying on the object. That's the nature of vitaka, one of the jhana factors. Nature of energy, supporting the mind, upholding the mind. That's the nature of virya. So nama dhamma, mental phenomena also each have their own unique nature. So these are also called sabhava lakkhana. Yeah. So once kanika samadhi is established, then it won't be long before this quality of clear comprehension, sampajanya, arise. The yogi is able to discern in the experience as he or she is noting object, able to discern this sabhava lakkhana, this mental, physical nature that are present in the experience. And then following this, yogi also experience what is called the sankhata lakkhana. So conditioned nature, conditioned characteristic, or the characteristic of things that are conditioned. So this means he discerns how he discerns the nature of how each of the sabhava, how each of them arises and disappear. It's a conditioned nature. It arises from the conditioned, and then the condition sustain it for a while, and then when the condition breaks up, it also disappears. So arising, presence, and then breaking up or disappearance. So the yogi discerns how each of this nature arises and disappears. When he discerns the nature of hardness, he discerns clearly this nature of hardness, it arises and then remain a little bit and then disappear. He discerns the nature of heat. Heat arises and then stay a little while and then disappear. So depending on how sharp your noting is, you're very sharp, then in that moment it arises and then immediately it disappears. So nature of support also, nature of pressure, and pressure arises and then it disappears. So nature of knowing, knowing also arises and then disappears. So nature of touching the object, touching also arises and then immediately disappears. So when the yogi discerns the nature of sankhata lakkhana, so each of the sabhava, nature, unique nature, of the nama rupa arises and disappear. Okay? So since Sankhata Lakkhana means how this Sabbhava arises and disappear. So therefore, this means that first, the yogi must be able to discern clearly Sabbhava nature, clearly. Then only you can discern it arising and passing away, discern the Sankhata Lakkhana. Okay? So if you do not discern the Sabbhava clearly, then what is it that arises and disappear? Right? So, yeah, that's why sometimes some yogis come into the interview, so they don't report clearly their experience of Sabbhava. Straight away, Bhante, I see arising, disappearing. And we ask, what is it that arises and disappears? So you don't see Sabbhava. What is it that arises and disappears? It could be you imagine something arise and disappear, right? So first you must see Sabbhava clearly. Then when you can see it clearly, then when your mind is clear enough, then you actually see as it is, how it arises, how it disappears. So then this is experience according to reality. So you simply say it. Sometimes yogi, they read somewhere in the books, suttas or somewhere, arising, disappearing. So in the interview, very happily, the report, arising, disappearing. Okay? What is it that arises and disappears? Okay? Sometimes they create this experience, because they know they are supposed to experience this. But then, because they have no patience to apply their mind diligently to the work of noting moment to moment to build up the samadhi, so that you can naturally discern what is really there. Then they lose patience. How come I don't discern? Then they look, then a little bit changes vibration. This one arising, disappearing. And very happily, they say, I discern arising, disappearing. That's why the teacher wants the yogi to report clearly. That's why we drill you. What do you experience? What do you experience? Explain, describe. So you must really observe very, very carefully. And then only you can describe. Otherwise, how you describe? Otherwise, you have to base on your imagination. Yeah. So when you practice under a teacher, under the guidance of a teacher, so the teacher needs to know where the yogi is, where he or she is in the development of the practice, which state of the development the yogi is. Yeah. And for this, the yogi need to help the teacher by reporting the experience clearly as it is, as you experience it. Okay? You must not put in what is not there in your experience, nor hide what is in your experience. So don't add anything to it, don't subtract anything to it from the report. Report exactly as you experience. So during the interview, the yogi must describe clearly. So what is the nature of the nama rupa? What is the nature that you have experienced? So usually you begin from the experience of sabbhava, rupa sabbhava, which basically just means a physical sensation. So Usually, you begin from physical sensation. Hardness, tightness, stiffness, tension, heat, cold. So, so things like this, right? So these are what these are sabhava lakkhana. So, for example, when you report about the rising, falling, so don't just report, Bante, rising, falling, up and down. No, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. 5 minutes, up and down. You report, then finish your report. Sometimes you say, okay, not just up and down. It's long, it's short, it's fast, it's slow. If you are beginners, this is okay. Because these are actually just concepts relating to the rising, falling. Right? For beginners, that is okay. Beginners, they do not know how to direct the mind yet. So the mind naturally goes to the concept. So, concept of direction, up and down. So, concept of length, long and short. So, concept of speed, fast or slow. Right? So, for beginners, this is okay. But if you have been practicing 10 years already, I expect better from you. Right? So, so if you report, if you experience in your practice, when you're noting and you experience nature sabhava, physical sensation, tightness, stiffness, tension, pressure, heat, cold, expansion, contraction, pulling, pushing, and so on. If you experience this thing, then you must report. Don't just say up and down. Right? So you must report. If you just say up and down, and in the mind of the teacher, he's still looking at concept. Right? So if you do experience this natural characteristic, material nature, physical sensation, then you must report. Also, when you note, do you observe a change in this physical or mental nature that you observe? Do you observe the process, the moment to moment unfolding, the change, the process of this mental, physical phenomena? So, for example, in noting the rising, so maybe you experience pressure. You experience pressure as it rises. So, is the pressure that is felt just one continuous pressure from beginning to the end? Or do you experience it as maybe as beginning, there's the upward movement, and then as it moves up, then you begin to feel pressure in the middle, and then as it reaches the end, you begin to feel tightness. So this is the process, how it changes from one moment to another. Or do you experience it like this? Or is it just one sensation throughout, unchanging? Or do you experience it like maybe in the beginning there is like movement, but the movement is not just one movement, but a series of movement, that movement. And then this is followed by pressure, but pressure also not one pressure, but then pressure, one after another. And then towards the end, you feel tightness. Also, not just one tightness, a series of tightness. Do you experience it like this? So you must report clearly what exactly you experience. Okay? So how do you experience it? You must report. There's no right answer. Don't think, what is it that Bhante want me to report? There is no right answer. This is not an examination. There is only one right answer. So the right answer is what you experience. You should report exactly as what you observe when you are meditating, when you are contemplating rising. Okay, so don't report what you don't observe. Don't make up a report just to satisfy the teacher. So you must report exactly as you experience. The idea of the interview is for the teacher to gauge how clearly is the mind of the yogi in discerning nature of the nama rupa. Okay, so therefore you must report honestly, exactly as you experience it. So you want to report more clearly, therefore you have to put more effort into noting, into observing, into the continuous moment to moment observation. But if you are actually following the basic instruction, the Satipatthana instruction, right? Making ardent effort to note continuously, moment by moment, noting precisely with mindfulness, with clear comprehension, with focus, mind, then you have no problem reporting. Things will appear clearly to you. But if you don't put effort into it, you just chin-chai no on the surface, then when I ask you to report rising, falling, don't know lah. I can't remember so many things. So sometimes yogis, when they say so many things, I say report one thing, then they have to scratch their head. Then you know they have not been observing carefully. If you have been observing carefully with wholehearted attention continuously, when you report very confidently. So many things you want to report. Sometimes your teacher even have to cut you off. Too many things. So the idea of interview is simply for the teacher to be able to gauge exactly how clearly is the yogi able to discern nature of nama rupa. From this you can tell how far you have developed. Then only the teacher can be able to provide proper guidance how to move on further from there. So if you try to hide something from your reporting, or if you try to add more things than what you observe, then your report will not be accurate. Then the teacher will not be able to guide you properly. We are not like the Buddha, can read your mind. If you can read your mind, then don't need interview. You go and sit wherever. Then from the room, can read, this one. What is it experiencing? So we cannot do that. So that's why we need interview. Interview is also something good for the yogi. You, in a way, as you recollect your experience, and when you have to express your experience in a reporting, then it also helps you to clarify your own experience for yourself. Then you know for yourself how clearly have you been doing the work of noting, how diligently you have been noting. You try to recollect and then not much to report. That means you have not been very diligent. You have to put in more effort, observe even more carefully. Also, not just the physical nature. So, do you in your practice, when you're noting, do you experience the mental nature together with the object? When you note the object, do you also able to naturally discern the quality of knowing of the object, and noting of the object? So, or is it just the object itself? So, if you discern there's a quality of knowing together with the object, then you must report. Or noting together with the object, then you must report. Okay? Some yogi don't even report this, even though they experience. Until I ask them, then only report. So whatever you experience, you must report. Okay? Don't judge. This one not important. No need to report. Often, the things that the yogi judge as unimportant, no need to report. These are the most important thing that they should report. Yeah. So when you experience the mental nature, so quality of knowing, quality of noting, or the intention, the impulse that precedes every movement. Before you do something, especially in daily activities, do you notice the intention preceding it, the movement, the action? So you have to report all this. Also, when you discern this mental, physical nature, so when you are able to discern them, do you also notice the arising distinctly, the distinct arising of this nature? When you're not like pressure, is the very first arising of the pressure clear? Or is it blur? Or you only know after it has arisen? So, do you notice the manner of its disappearance after arising? How does it disappear? You must describe. It slowly fades away. After arising, it moves a little distance away, and then it falls away, it vanishes. Or after arising, it disintegrates immediately. Or it breaks up, it crumbles up. So, how does it disappear? If you can notice the disappearance, how does it disappear? So, if you have noted all these things, so they should be reported, included in your report. Okay? And then only the teacher can get a clear picture, a true picture of the state of your practice. Yeah. So that's why you have to report clearly. Don't jump here and there. That's why we have this system of reporting also. Let's report first your sitting meditation, report your primary object, how you experience, how you note. Only after you have reported the primary object, then only you report your secondary object. Secondary object also, just choose one or two. No need to report every single thing. So from how you note it, what you experience from noting it, that we can already tell the state of your practice. So no need to tell so many objects, this object, that object. Doesn't mean that you can report so many objects that your practice is good. So you must report systematically your primary object first, then your secondary object. Some yogis don't even report primary object, straight away jump to secondary object. Then the same thing with the walking meditation. You must report about your primary object. So for walking meditation, you just report how you experience the 3-phase step. The step in how you experience the step in three phases: lifting, pushing, dropping. That is enough. No need to report anything else. That's enough. Okay. So, so how you know what you experience systematically first when you're lifting. Lifting, what do you experience? Beginning, how is it like? In the middle, how is it like? In the end, how is it like? Pushing also, placing. So the report clearly. So that's why you have to pay very careful attention when you are noting. Otherwise, you cannot report. So after that, after you reported the step, then only you report one or two secondary objects connected with the walking meditation. Okay. Then daily activities. Daily activities, you just choose one particular activity. Don't say, I do a little bit walk when eating. I know. Opening, closing the door also I know. Everything I know. Very good, very good. Choose one activity and then report it in detail how you note, how you experience. So you can choose like when you're bowing, what do you know? Intention to lift the palm, then as the palm lifts, what do you experience as it touches? What do you experience? So step by step, and then how intention to bow, and then the body go down step by step. You have to report the entire complete experience. So if you really do it properly, some yogis they do it properly. Bowing can take 5-10 minutes. Then there are a lot of things to report. So that is also meditation. That must be reported. Okay. So in your interview, you must report systematically. Don't jump here and there as you like. So interview is a very serious time. You are discussing about your practice. Dhamma sakacha, discussion of Dhamma. So it's very important that you take it seriously, report clearly. So this the experience of sabhava and then sankata lakkhana. Okay. So, but as we have mentioned in the last talk also, even though we have described about the nature of sabhava, the nature of sankata, okay, later on we also describe the nature of samanya lakkhana. So, but the yogi in a practice, you should not deliberately try to search for this nature. Okay, so you try to search, then you become very excited. Is it this one? Is it that one? So don't do that. Just keep applying. Make effort to apply the basic method of noting. Putting effort, ardent effort to note precisely, not continuously, with mindfulness, with clear comprehension, not continuously. Okay, as you note continuously, then when the samadhi is sufficiently developed and the mind is clear enough, then naturally, when you note, you'll be able to discern this nature, sabhava, and followed by nature of sankata, lakkhana. Okay? So, naturally the mind, if it's sharp enough, clear enough, you will be able to pick up this nature. Because when it's clear enough, then this nature will become more and more prominent. Naturally the mind, When you note, the mind will fall on this nature. Okay, and the mind will pick it up. Okay. Yeah. But often we find that the yogi, especially when they practice for some time, the yogi that can actually already discern this nature. Yeah. But often they do not think that it is important enough to report. So therefore, they continue in their interview, continue to report what they are familiar with, what they are already familiar with. That is the concept. So they continue to report up and down, long, short, fast, slow. So even though they can already discern the nature of the sabhava lakkhana. So that's why in the Dhamma talk, so we often describe the nature, describe generally what are the nature that the yogi will encounter as he or she develops their practice, and what they will actually experience as they develop their practice. So that when the yogi have an idea about this, then when they actually experience it in their practice, then they don't miss it. They pay attention. So in this way, they keep themselves on the right track. Okay? And then when the interview comes, they will also report. Okay? So some yogis, even after we have described it, still they miss. When they actually experience it, still they miss it. They don't pay attention to them and they don't report. So that's why in the interview, when we judge that by now this yogi, the way he or she has developed, by now he or she should already have experienced this. So then we will ask leading question in order to probe further, to find out whether you have experienced it or not. Often after we ask the question, then they reveal, oh, actually, yes, I've experienced this. And I ask, why didn't you report? Yeah. And then there are also some yogis who, because the root of wisdom is not sharp enough. So the root of wisdom is not sharp enough. So it means you're not very sharp in the work of noting. So even after practicing for a long time, you're still stuck in a concept. After practicing for many, many years, you're still up and down, long and short, fast and slow. So yeah, so sometimes the teacher, you wait for a very long time. Wait, never mind, let him develop at his or her own pace. And we wait, and then we wait, and then we wait, and then we wait, and then we wait further. But still no result. And after a while, we cannot wait anymore. So we have to ask them to deliberately pay attention to physical sensation as they arise. So yeah, that's where I asked the yogi to do the exercise that I did with you. Put your hand on the floor. Tell me, what do you feel? So even then, sometimes some yogis still cannot report. I said, don't think, just feel. I feel my hand. My hand on the floor. So even sometimes like this also still cannot report. Then we have to give some hint. Do you feel that it's hot? Or it's cold? They say, oh yes. Sometimes you see the mind is so the root of wisdom, not sharp enough to go beyond this concept to reality. So even after such a clear hint also, cannot. So for this yogi, we have to deliberately ask them to pay attention. We have to tell them exactly what to pay attention to. So otherwise, they are forever stuck with the concept. Then their practice will be more like samatha. So some yogis, instead of stuck in the concept, they are able to transcend beyond concept, but they are stuck in sabbhava. Forever they report tightness, stiffness, tension. So, but they don't notice so much about the changes. Then, so we have to, after some time, we have to deliberately ask them, pay attention to the first beginning, each of this mental or physical nature that you know. Pay attention to how they arise. So sometimes when they ask them to do that, then for some yogis, suddenly a whole world of phenomena open up. They start to see things all arising, one after another. So then from there they begin to go into the process. But after a while, they just start just arising. Then we have to tell them, do you notice the disappearance? Then they start to pay attention. And after a while, then they begin to discern the disappearance. So, so some yogis, they are very fast. So I give them the instruction after just a short while, they practice, they begin to report all this different nature that we have described. Some they have to practice for a longer time before they begin to discern. Some very, very long time. So it depends on how sharp is your wisdom. That's the root of wisdom. So this one, the root of wisdom is conditioned by past karma. So sometimes this cannot be helped. It just means that you have to spend more time practicing. So more retreats. Okay, so once the Sankhata Lakkhana can be clearly discerned, and the yogi is able to discern Sankhata Lakkhana arising and disappearing again and again continuously. Then it's a matter of time before the yogi begin to also realize the nature of Samanya Lakkhana. So Samanya Lakkhana means the common characteristic, okay, or shared characteristic, characteristic that are shared in common. Okay? So earlier we said we have Sabbhava Lakkhana. Sabbhava Lakkhana is unique to the respective mental or physical phenomena. Okay? But so each of them have their own unique nature, but they all share a certain common characteristic, which are called Samanya Lakkhana. So these are what we call the nature of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay? So all this mental, physical phenomena, they share in common this nature of being impermanent, suffering, and non-self. Okay? So, and this nature of Samanya Lakkhana, it is discerned by noting continuously the nature of Sankhata Lakkhana, the continuous, never-ending arising and disappearing of this mental or physical nature from moment to moment. Okay, so Mhm. So in the previous talks, we have discussed several times uh, how by noting the nature of Sankata Lakkhana, the yogi can come to discern the nature of Samanya Lakkhana. Okay? So, but for today, we want to discuss how this nature of anicca, dukkha, and anatta, how they are normally concealed in our experience. Okay, so how they are concealed, how we cannot, if we do not practice vipassana meditation, how they are concealed, so that we do not discern them. Okay, so if we do not practice vipassana meditation, so this nature of anicca, dukkha, anatta, they are usually hidden away. We do not discern them clearly. Okay, so so to discern them, you need the method of vipassana meditation, method of noting in order to reveal this nature. Okay? Otherwise, you can live your whole life. If you don't practice vipassana meditation, you can live your whole life without ever experiencing nature, anicca, dukkha, anatta. And then you fall under the influence of ignorance, avidya. And the whole life, you always think that things are somehow permanent, pleasurable, the self. Okay? So even though occasionally in our life, you do see a little bit here and there the signs of anicca, dukkha, anatta. So, but you refuse to acknowledge them because of influence of avidya, ignorance, right? So, and the attachment also that arise because of the avidya, the ignorance. So you refuse to acknowledge that there is such thing as impermanent suffering and non-self. So, for example, as you grow older and older, old age sets in. What happens when people grow older and older? The makeup also gets thicker and thicker. So this is refusing to acknowledge the fact of old age, right? Change is happening. Things are impermanent. Old age is happening, but you try to hide it away. You put on thicker and thicker makeup. Some go for cosmetic surgery just to hide away all this ugly fact of life. You don't acknowledge. But how long can you hide? So your hair, you dye, it grows more and more gray, you dye more and more, you dye. So but when you cannot hide anymore, after a certain age, you cannot hide anymore. But it's still, you refuse to completely acknowledge. You say, I may be old, but I'm young at heart. So, so when you experience suffering in life also, experience one suffering after another, you say, no, I must think positively. Instead of thinking realistically, you think positively. You refuse to see the ugliness of your existence. So, for example, what do we do with dead body? When someone, your family member or your friend pass away, what do you do with the corpse? You go and dress it up very nicely, put makeup, Do everything nicely, so that appear nicely. You don't want to see the ugly nature of the body of the corpse. Unlike Buddha's time, they just throw it into the charnel ground. So after a few days, you start to see the nature of the corpse. The bloated, it start to bloat, it start to turn blue-black, the liquids start to ooze out from the nostril, from the eyes, from the ears. But nowadays we don't let that happen. We stuff a lot of cotton, embalm the body. So because when we want to hide away all this ugliness, we don't want to see them. That's why Venerable Mahachara, when he passed away, he instructed that his body not be embalmed. Yeah, but then they put dry ice inside the coffin. But then actually after a few days, we still see it bloated a little bit, and then it turned a little bit dark also. At least you see a little bit of the nature. But then they stuff a lot of cotton inside the nose. So, yeah. So we refuse to see all this very ugly, stark nature of our existence. If somebody try to show us, say, "Oh, you are being insensitive." So, so we refuse to acknowledge the nature of dukkha, and anicca and dukkha, and we definitely hold on very strongly to the idea of a self, right? Especially in the form of an ego. So when the ego is challenged, or when it is somehow hurt, then you must rise and defend the ego, right? That is clinging on to the idea of a self. Okay? Yeah. So normally, if you don't practice vipassana meditation, you continue to be labor under this delusion of things being permanent, pleasurable, and self. Even though occasionally you don't see hints, signs here and there that tells you that they are impermanent, they are dukkha, suffering, they are non-self, but you try to turn your attention elsewhere. You don't want to look at them. So in this way, this nature, this true nature of impermanent suffering, non-self, are concealed away, hidden away by this ignorance, by this delusion. Okay? So we discuss how they are concealed, and then how we can attend to the five aggregates, to the nama rupa, in order to reveal the true nature of impermanent suffering and non-self. Okay. Okay. So first, let's look at the anicca lakkhana, characteristic of impermanent. Okay. So how is it concealed? Okay. And what we must do in order to reveal their nature. Okay. So this is from the Visuddhimagga. Okay. So it says, anicca lakkhanam tava udaya bhayanam amanasikara santatiya patichanata na upadati. Okay. So anicca lakkhanam, so means the characteristic of anicca, the nature of anicca, impermanence. So na upadati, it does not become apparent, it is not clearly manifest. Why? Because Udayabhayanam Amanasikara. Because when Udayabhaya, when the rise and fall, nature of rise and fall, that means what? Sankata Lakkhana. So when the nature rise and fall, Amanasikara, you don't give attention to it. You don't pay attention to the nature of rise and fall. Then Santatiya Patichanata. It is concealed by Santati, concealed by continuity. So let's break this down. Okay, so anicca lakkhana, the characteristic of impermanent. So what is this characteristic of impermanent? Or you can say, what is the signs of impermanent? What is the sign that tells you that this is impermanent? So it is explained as hutva abhava. Hutva abhavatena anicca. It is impermanent in the sense of abhava. Abhava means like absence. Absence means it is not present. It is no longer present. And that means it has disappeared. It has vanished. Okay, so hutva abhavatena anicca. It is impermanent in the sense of absence or disappearance. Hutva means after arising. So that means having arisen, it disappears. That disappearance, that is the meaning of anicca. So it is hutva abhavatena anicca. It is impermanent in the sense of the disappearance upon arising. Okay, so that disappearance itself is the sign of anicca. Okay, in the sutta also, the Buddha mentioned ahutva sambonti, hutva pativenti. Okay, so that means not having been, not having exists, then it arises. Okay, ahutva sambonti. Okay, so before this, it doesn't exist. Okay, so not having exists, sambonti, it appear. So suddenly appear, right? Before that, you cannot find it anywhere. Then suddenly it appear. So hutva sambonti. Okay. Then ahutva sambonti. Okay. Then hutva pativenti. So having arisen, it disappear. Right? So disappear means disappear completely. You cannot find it anywhere anymore. Okay? So that disappearance is the sign of anicca. So you can see from this that the yogi, in order to realize the nature of anicca, so the yogi needs to contemplate the nature of arising and disappearing. That means sankhata lakkhana must be clear. So you must contemplate again and again, arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing. So again and again, you must contemplate. Okay? So as you contemplate continuously arising, disappearing of each mental, physical nature, then at some point it begin to dawn on the yogi. So things are disappearing again and again. Everything that arises, it breaks up. It does not remain. Right? Everything that is not, it just disappear. Right? Nothing remains. There's not a single thing that does not disappear. Everything disappears. So that is when the yogi begin to realize the nature of anicca. So to realize this, you must contemplate again and again. It's arising, disappearing, arising, disappearing. So you must see the nature, the sign of anicca again and again. That disappearance upon arising. So you have to keep seeing disappearing, then another one arising, and then that also disappear. Then another one arises, that also disappear. Another one arises, that also disappear. Then when you see this again and again and again, then it will dawn. You become convinced there's nothing that does not disappear. Everything vanish. Then the nature of anicca, the anicca jnana arise in the yogi. Okay, so this is the anicca lakkhana, the characteristic of impermanence. Okay? But it is said to be concealed by continuity or santati. Okay, so what do we mean by this continuity or santati? Okay, so this santati is actually an idea in the mind, idea that something is existing continuously. Okay, so it goes on, the same thing is going on continuously. It never changes, it never disappears, it's going on continuously. Okay? So, and this gives rise to illusion that things are permanent. Okay, so, so this arises, why? Because you do not discern clearly the nature arising and disappearing. So therefore, things appear to be the same thing continuously. You don't see the momentary change. So you think it never changes. It's the same thing. It never disappears. Like when you note the abdomen, it's the same abdomen. So it gives rise to the idea, illusion of things being permanent. Okay? And this is what we mean by continuity, santati. Okay? And this santati or continuity, it don't really exist. Okay? It is just an idea in the mind, idea that is conceived by the mind. Or you can assume by the mind. Okay? Because it doesn't see the momentary arising and disappearing. So you assume this to be true, that it never changes, it remains the same. So the mind assumes this due to ignorance, due to not seeing clearly the nature of the nama rupa as they are, as they occur moment to moment. Okay, so this idea of a santati is a wrong notion of the way things are, and this idea arises when we don't pay attention to the momentary rise and fall. So if we don't pay attention to the moment to moment arising and disappearing, especially the disappearing, the nature of anicca, then things appear to be joined together. So when they are joined together, then they appear as one single, continuous, unchanging entity. Like abdomen, if you don't see it arising and disappearing moment to moment, so this rising or appear joined together. You don't see the disappearance of each of this nature. So you think, this is the abdomen is rising. Even if you see in section, you still think the abdomen is rising in section, but it is still in the mind, still the one single abdomen. It's only when you actually see the disappearance, then only you actually discern its impermanent nature. Okay? Otherwise, you will interpret it as permanent. It's the same abdomen. Same abdomen that goes on existing. It's the same abdomen now, same abdomen yesterday. It will be the same abdomen if I'm still alive tomorrow. So So you have this idea of these things continuously existing without changing. Yeah. So it's like you can compare this to the simile of the line of ants. So from far away, you look on the wall, you saw there's a line, a black line across. You think it's a line, but as you go closer and closer and closer, then only you see, oh, actually it's not a line. It's made up of tiny little ants, one after another. So that's why you have to have focused attention to discern clearly moment to moment. And then you can dissect the experience. Just like the chicken rice seller, he cut the cucumber. Like, moment to moment, you must dissect your experience. Then when your experience is clear, then you see the disappearance again and again. Okay, so so take another example. So when you're bending the arm, or when you're stretching the arm. So if you do not note properly, so you think, this is my arm, right? It's the same arm, the same arm that is continuously stretching. So the same arm in the beginning of the stretching, it's the same arm in the middle of the stretching, the same arm in the end, at the end of the stretching. The same arm that exists yesterday. It's the same arm since I was born. I have this arm since I was born. So, and it will continue to be here as long as I am still alive. So, that's because when you do not note properly, so it says, Udaya bayanam amanasikara santatiya patichananta. Okay, so because you don't pay attention to the momentary arising and disappearance, so it is concealed by continuity. So it's the same arm continuously. It's the same arm. You don't, so you don't pay attention carefully to the moment to moment arising and disappearing. So it appears as a single, continuous, unchanging arm, right? But if you contemplate carefully, according to the instruction, you slow down and then you put your focus 100% attention on the act of bending, and you move it slowly and you observe it carefully. Then you begin to realize when the mind is clear enough due to development of samadhi, and then you begin to realize it is not just one arm continuously. That this movement, this act of stretching, is actually made up of many different material qualities that flits in and out of existence continuously. Okay? So it's the one motion, one stretching and then stretching and then stretching and then stretching and then stretching. So one movement of stretching after another. So there's many material qualities coming and going continuously. Okay, the materiality at the beginning is different from the materiality in the middle. It's different from the materiality at the end. So the first materiality is different from the materiality that arises next to it. That also is different from the materiality that arises next to it. Okay. So if you observe carefully, then you can also discern the rise and fall of each materiality. So then you can discern the nature of anicca lakkhana. rise and fall, the disappearance after arising. So each stretching arises and then disappear. The next one also arises and disappear. When you stretch again, that stretching also arises and disappear. And so you discern again and again the anicca lakkhana, the disappearance, continuous disappearance, one after another after another. So if you slow down and you note carefully in this way, paying attention to the moment to moment rise and fall of each material nature, then the apparent continuity of this act of stretching is revealed to be a false notion. So the yogi realized only the impermanent nature of the material qualities that arise one moment after another. Okay? So by paying attention, careful attention to the moment to moment rise and fall, you reveal the nature of impermanence. So if you don't pay attention to it, then it's concealed by the idea of continuity. So not just the physical impermanent nature, the physical nature, the mental nature also. So you do not note carefully, you think that it is the same mind that's going on. I know the stretching movement. I know. So it's the same I that was here yesterday. So the same I that has been around since the day I was born. So you think it's the same person there, being aware of this act of stretching. Okay? That is, you do not carefully note. So, but if you note carefully, then you can see clearly the quality of knowing, consciousness at different moments. So you see there's an act of stretching, and then there's a knowing of the stretching, and then another act of stretching, another knowing. So the stretching, knowing, stretching, knowing, stretching, knowing. So each knowing arise and disappear with the object. Okay? So there's a series of knowing arising and disappearing, each one following the object. So object knowing, object knowing, object knowing, arising and disappearing together. So each one is different from the other. Okay? So in this way, you come to see clearly impermanent nature of the mind also, because you keep discerning is their nature, this quality of knowing disappearing after arising again and again. So when you note like this, then the notion of the continuity of the mind is revealed to be a false notion. Okay? So so otherwise, then this, if you don't note like this, the idea that there is this knowing, the same knowing occurring continuously, and then you will latch on to this as something permanent and identify with it as the knower. And then you say, this is me, I am knowing. So so what is called anicca jnana? Knowledge of anicca, clear knowledge of anicca, is this clear comprehension of the signs of anicca. So you keep discerning again and again clearly the disappearance of the arising. Okay? So and you realize it, that's anicca jnana. So it's an experience. Anicca jnana is an experience. So it is the experience of the anicca lakkhana, the characteristic of anicca, the disappearance. So Yeah, so anicca jnana is not thinking. It's not thinking, oh, before it was there, now it's not there. Impermanent. Not like this. This is not anicca jnana. This is thinking. Yeah? This is reflecting thinking. Okay? So when the yogis experience anicca lakkhana, often is sometimes the yogi don't even realize it. Okay? Because it's an experience. All you are doing is you are just seeing again and again the nature disappearance. So often the yogis do not realize, because when they are experiencing disappearance, it's just in the moment. As we say, in the moment, you are experiencing clearly. There's no time to think. You can only experience it. Okay? So it's just an experience. So they experience again and again, disappearing. Okay? So sometimes they do not know that what they are experiencing is the anicca lakkhana. Okay? But in the interview, they report their experience. They report clearly, oh, I keep experiencing this one arise and then it breaks up. That one arise, it disappear. That one disintegrate or something like that. They report clearly. They say again and again this happened. So when the teacher hear this, something like this, then when the teacher hear this, and they can tell what this yogi is experiencing. Yeah. So you just have to report according to what you experience. So yeah. So it's an experience. It is not something that you can think about. Experience of impermanence is an experience. It's not something that arises from thinking about it. Okay? So you can think all you want, but you haven't really experienced it. So only when you experience it again and again and again, then only you can sink in deep into the mind. This fearfulness of things keep breaking up, disappearing, disintegrating. Then only you realize how unstable, how fragile is your existence. Then only you can let go. Right? So it has to be experienced in order to be realized. You can think about it again and again and again. It's just thinking. It doesn't sink deep into your heart. It doesn't transform your heart from deep inside. Okay? Yeah, so it's an experience. And this nature anicca can be experienced in various different ways, as described in the suttas and also in the commentaries. In the commentary, they collect together, all together, I think 10 aspects of this experience of anicca. Some experience it as simply being impermanent. Some experience as this nature, mental, physical nature, deteriorating, collapsing, or being torn apart, being dispersed. Or sometimes they experience it as being unstable. This nature is unstable, it quivers. Experience them as being frail, easily destroyed. So not everlasting, not enduring. So these are different ways that the yogi can experience the nature of anicca. Okay, so we stop here tonight. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipatiya buddham pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipatiya dhammam pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipatiya sangham pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipatiya Mata pitunam pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipatiya acariyanam pujemi adha imaya patipadaya jara maranamha primocesami idame punyam asawakaya waham hotu idame punyam nibbanasa pacayo hotu idame silam magaphalanyanasa pacayo hotu imam no punya bhagam sabbasatanam dema imam no punya bhagam sabbasatanam dema imam no punya bhagam sabbasatanam dema sadhu sadhu sadhu. So may all of you be well, happy and peaceful always. May you all be always healthy, strong and safe. May you all be able to continuously practice the Dhamma diligently, without any obstacle, without any hindrances. May you all be able to practice smoothly, without any trouble. And may you all be able to soon realize the unconditioned peace of Nibbana through your practice of the Dhamma.